friends with Keon. Keon is the perp. Gabby, Gabby is best friends with him. So everybody's like, Breezy, you was right. It was a light skinned girl involved because what happened was when I see my vision, it's two girls. They have on blue t-shirts.
She had her headphones in. Kada, she always, just walking around the neighborhood with her dog and stuff. So I'm just going to show you guys the area and, you know, where he knows of the block. So this is, if you go down this block, this is Kada Scott's block. So people are saying that I felt as though I couldn't go to the authorities about the situation because they had already locked him up. Now, I did eventually go to the authorities about the information, and they told me that the information that I bought them was useless.
He doesn't want to incarcerate everybody. And and the kid comes from money too. So, they probably didn't want to fight his lawyer, who I'm not even going to say his name, but they have a personal relationship. So he probably was just like, you know what?
So during the vigil for Kada Scott, they were back there searching because they found additional remains. Yep, it was confirmed. They found additional remains. We don't know whose it is, but they found something. So we're going to find out what that is. And the district attorney lied to our faces. I also have some sources that told me that they didn't even search the back of the school really thorough like that because they were there watching. Welcome to Fugitive TV. If this is your first time, please like and subscribe. If you're returning, thank you for returning. And right now, we're continuing with the Kada Scott case. There's been a lot of details that's been shown to you guys, especially for my last video, a lot of everything. But right now, what we're going to get into is they have found additional remains.
Investigators have not announced who killed Kada or how she died. That's part of an active and ongoing police investigation, and they say homicide charges will be coming. Now, there was also another active search happening behind the school today. Law enforcement sources tell me additional remains were recovered today, and as they are testing that evidence, police held the scene.
Now, how they came across this was it was somebody, a regular citizen like me and you, that was out there, I guess in the back walking around or searching, and they stumbled across a bone. They stumbled across the bone, and then they looked down, and they called the authorities over. First person came over and said, "Yeah, that looks like a human bone." So now they're searching to see if anybody else is back there. Now, I did tell you in my last video, I don't think this is his first time. We all know that he got in trouble before for kidnapping somebody, and before that, he got in trouble for forcing himself on a woman in her own bed. They don't talk about that much, but he got in trouble for that too. Not only that, this kid was trouble since school. He got kicked out of his Catholic school that he was going to for flashing a knife at a teacher or something like that.
So this young man, he apparently there was some issues for starting back in high school. I know he went to Roman Catholic high school. He was, I don't know if removed, but he threatened a student or a faculty member with a knife. So the signs were there. He was arrested, as everybody now knows, back in December for kidnapping case.
It's going crazy. Now, Keon, he comes from a good family, actually. His mom works at a nonprofit center. His dad supposedly was a detective. I can't confirm that, but supposedly his dad was a detective. So he came from a good family, and his family has money. This is how he was able to bond out the first time with $20,000 cash. People are wondering that because his family has a little bit of money behind him. He also is able to get the best lawyers when he gets in trouble. So that's how he keeps getting out, getting on bond. And one of the reasons, we're also going to get into another reason why he got out on bond as well. As far as the additional remains, they're still testing, they're still digging, things like that, which I think there might be more people back there. He might have did this before. Now, the whole bond situation, the DA lied to our faces. He said that, if you remember in the press conference, he told us that he didn't want to call a judge and wake him up at 3 a.m. in the morning because the judge will get mad and even drop the bond even lower. Come to find out, that was all a lie because the bond was never, all that was never done at 3 in the morning. It was done at 3 in the afternoon.
Preventable. To your question, yes, he should have been in jail. On the press conference, Krasner talks about the bail was dropped down to $200,000. And if you watch his press conference, he says the reason they don't appeal it, which this is the big problem here, this is where the lie is really festering. The reason they didn't appeal the $200,000 is because they didn't want to call a judge in the middle of the night, fearing if they did, asking for a higher bail than the 200 that was set on December 11th, that the judge would grant not a higher bail, but actually would lower it as a punishment for the district attorney calling them and waking them up. Now, I can tell you that is 1,000% a lie.
I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy to think about, that they would punish the district attorney by letting a bad person out. I mean,
no, and it wouldn't happen. Now, I worked for the court, so that's where my job was. I was in the court warrant unit. I would call judges all the time in the middle of the night to get a warrant, address change, whatever. Sometimes, I was clueless when I was calling them because I didn't have all my facts, and they were all professional because they know that's their job. They have to answer that phone call for me, for anybody that calls that night. So for him to make that allegation is outrageous. Again,
the DA was just lazy and didn't want to keep going with the case. That's all that was. Even though the witness never came and showed up to court, she says that she didn't get the court date, and she was also scared. I don't blame her. Look what happened to Kada. She didn't trust them to keep her protected. I mean, would you? Look at the outcome. So she didn't trust them because what would happen is the person gets out on bond, right? And then when you got to show up to court, that person's right there with you in the court, and both of y'all walking out the doors together. So who's protecting you when you walk out the courthouse? No one. They're not doing it. They're not doing that. You got to protect yourself. So I don't blame her. But they could have used a lot more evidence to keep them in and keep going with this case, the old one anyway. We all seen the video of him jumping the fence. That was enough evidence right there to keep him going. But they were too lazy and they decided not to do it. So they lied to us.
The bail was set. It started at 12:44 in the afternoon on that day, and I believe it was finally put on paper at like 3:30 in the afternoon. So he just lied. He was making people sound like it was 3:30 in the morning, and they didn't want to call it a bail commissioner or call the emergency judge and have the bail increased. He lied again, and that's what he does. He lies, pushes blame on the judges. He'll blame everybody under the sun. Even I'm sure Trump was even accused in this problem.
Remember that girl Gabby, the one who was defending herself because she was Keon's so-called best friend, and that she accidentally gave up the information of where Kada was at? Well,
your friend, but you didn't know about the first kidnapping. Whenever Keon was in any, legal troubles or anything like that, and, I would ask him about it, he would never tell me, like, what he would get in trouble for. He would just be like, oh, yeah, like, I'm just in a jam, He would never, ever talk about this. So, no, I didn't know about the first kidnapping. When the news came out, that he turned himself in, that's when news started coming out that, he had previously kidnapped a girl last year. And that's when I found out, and I was in shock. I had no idea that he was somebody that was doing some things like this.
If you go back to that video, she says that the first phone call was 29 seconds, but Keon called her.
So you can see that this is the day that he called me, and this was before Kada went missing. And we were only on the phone for 29 seconds. Also,
if you look closely, he didn't call her. She called him. That's his outgoing call. She called him and talked for 29 seconds. So why did she call him to give up some information on Kada? A lot of people didn't peep that. When I showed that video on my last video, I should say, some of you guys noticed that. There was a couple of you that noticed that. I was dropping little breadcrumbs and I was seeing who would notice that, right? I don't like making videos too long because I know a lot of people don't want to watch hour-long videos, right? So I like to break them up a little bit for you. But it was an outgoing call. So why would she call him to let him know where Kada live at? Now, they all live close to each other, right? He was a neighborhood pharmaceutical. I got an email confirming that and, things like that. Now, somebody also sent me a link, or I should say a tip, saying that Keon and this girl who was defending herself were more than just best friends.
So people are saying that I felt as though I couldn't go to the authorities about the situation because they had already locked him up. Now, I did eventually go to the authorities about the information, and they told me that the information that I bought them was useless, that they couldn't use the information because it wouldn't help to lead finding Kada, and also because he was already in police custody, so there was nothing that they could do with my information. They also told me that days before, my friend did come in with the information, and they told her the exact same thing.
That they were actually messing around. I don't know if this is true or not, but allegedly these two were messing around. Now, if these two were messing around and he was infatuated with Kada, is she the jealous one that the aunt was talking about?
2 other people are involved. It's a female. I know one female personally, but there's some jealousy things going on. White truck, near trains, bandit building for sure. For sure. And she near the trains. Yeah, that's where we at with it. For me, I understand more better because of who I am and how I carry in the spirit world, things of that sort. I will tell you this: my niece is still in the area of between the job and the park. That's what I will tell you. I will tell you that there's 3 people involved. I will tell you that one person has dreadlocks.
You know the aunt, the one that's psychic or the one that solved a few crimes before, and she pretty much solved this one too. She said that there was a man with dreads and 2 jealous women that's involved. Remember her saying that? So would she be the other jealous woman? And then you got Gabby's best friend. They're talking on the phone back and forth, and Gabby's best friend is telling her, "You need to go to the police. You need to go to the police because Kata's missing. She's missing." And not only that, they swapped text messages back and forth with each other. And in these text messages, Gabby's talking about how Kata's not here anymore. She's unalive. She's terminated. And this is before the news found her. So how would they be swapping text messages back and forth talking about she's unalive? How does that work? How would she know? Now, we do know somebody's been calling in tips, right? And saying that she's located here. I always said that whoever's calling in these tips, they know more than what they know. Nobody calls in 3-4 tips and gets it correct every single time, right? You walk in the woods and then you leave the woods and then they're like, "Hey, sorry, you missed something. Go back to this 3rd tree." And it doesn't work that way. You know, that tipster knows something, right? Now, supposedly they're trying to investigate who left the anonymous tip. It could be I mean, you really think about it. Could it be the so-called Keon's best friend? And then her so-called best friend, who I guess are no longer friends anymore because they fought over this? Some people think it could be Keon doing it from jail. But the problem with that is there's recorded phone calls. You can't leave an anonymous tip from jail. I'm sorry, it don't work. They got some jails got the little poster up, call this from leaving that. It don't work. It don't work, right? They got to know who's doing it. But could it be them leaving these tips because they know more than what we think they know? And now they're just trying to backtrack. And I mean, Gabby's best friend showed a video of her walking down the street in Kata's neighborhood and basically gave us a straight detail of Kada Scott and what she would do on her daily walks.
She had her headphones in. Kada, she always, just walking around the neighborhood with her dog and stuff. So I'm just going to show you guys the area and, where he knows of the block. So this is, if you go down this block, this is Kada Scott's block more so, but this block right here is the block that he will always come on to sell me and my friend rugs. My friend lives down there. Kada lives down here. So honestly, I think I'm just gonna go down Kata's block. But Kada, her house is actually on this side, guys. But yeah, her house is on this side. Maybe this. No, I don't know, guys.
With her dog. Now, Gabby also said they did not grow up with Kada. They don't know Kada like that. Well, if they didn't grow up with Kada and they don't know Kada like that, how do they know her daily routine of walking her dog, and to the point of she would stop here and not stop here. How is this known? Now that video got deleted. I'm going to put it up, but that video got deleted.
Friend lived on the same block, so that's how he probably started witnessing her or seeing her, and he began to ask my best friend questions about her. But I ended up finding out before he, did what he did to Kada, he actually called my best friend and he asked her, like, where was Kada located? Where's her house? What do you know about her? Is she a cool girl? Does she have a boyfriend? He asked her all types of stuff like that about Kada before he kidnapped her. And then once it was discovered that he did, he called my best friend and told her, don't tell anybody about what he asked.
But how is this known without you guys watching, following, and stalking somebody? I got neighbors. I can't tell you exactly what my neighbors do all the time. I maybe have one neighbor that when I'm out at a certain time of the day, he's always out there at a certain time of the day too, because it just falls that way. But besides that, I'm not watching his every move like, oh, he's walking his dog and they always stop right here at that patch of grass. No, that's what this video was doing. So it makes you wonder, like, how did they know all this? Were they stalking her from the beginning? I don't know. I don't trust them, to be honest with you. And I think they need to be pulled in. They need to be pulled in. They need to be talked to, investigated, whatever it is. I also got a email saying that Kada's phone pinged to Gabby's parking lot or Gabby's house, somewhere around Gabby's house for one of the last pings. I don't know if this is true. This is allegedly. If that's the case, why is Kada's phone pinging at around Gabby's house? Another thing is, what the police aren't telling us is, Kada had a Apple Watch on. You know where the Apple Watch pinged to last? The school. It pinged to the parking lot of the school last. And the police knew it, but didn't act on it right away. The police also went back there at the school and didn't search really good. They didn't go in the back of the forest. The very first video I made on this, I showed the school from a Google map and I saw the back of it. And I said, if anybody was going to do anything, it would be in the back of that forest. Supposedly the cops kind of just looked and left. Like they didn't even care. How do I know? Because people were there and somebody told me. They didn't even look. The people went back there and looked for themselves before the cops did. That's a shame that the city has to go back there. City of citizens got to go back there and look, and the cops ain't doing it. So we know Keon is responsible for what happened, right? He picked her up. We still don't know who was in the car with him. We don't know who drove his other car because there's more than one person involved. The DA pretty much said it. They said somebody drove his car while he drove the stolen car. So there's two people involved, maybe three, who knows? And we all know somebody that's leaving these tips knows more than what they had. I'm sorry, they had to be there.
Right. And we did, nope, go back in the house. Nope. So
Mom
they
thing.
don't play. Yep, they don't
Yeah,
play.
mom
keep
tendency.
saying playing that, you know what I'm saying?
I want the city of Philadelphia to hold everybody accountable who is connected to Kada Scott going missing. I refuse to hear that they have Keon King in custody and that he's going to be the only person facing charges. There are other people who helped and assisted Keon King in the abduction and disappearance of Kada Scott. Those individuals need to be charged as accomplices, and I need the city of Philadelphia and the FBI to figure out who those individuals are. The moment that you gave up personal information about Kada Scott's whereabouts and personal information, and you assured Keon that you were not going to talk to the police, that made you an accomplice right then and there.
Or Keon gave them details to the T, which means they were holding evidence and they knew all along where she was at. Now, could they have saved her life? Probably not, because they did say that he terminated her within 20 or 30 minutes of her getting in the car. So they probably couldn't have saved her life, but still, they could have saved all this drama and commotion by going to the authorities first and telling people what they know. And at least letting Kada be found, and how would I put it? I guess a timely manner. Quickly. So that way, at least when they do the autopsy, they can see what she died from or passed away from. Because the longer the body sits, the harder it is to to tell where or how a person was offed or terminated or unalive, whatever you want to say that YouTube allows. But they definitely need to be investigated. I'm gonna, I don't trust him. I don't know if you guys do. And thank you for you guys that are sending me emails, sending me tips on this. Thank you. I am a Dodger fan. See the LA sign. But I know we beat y'all in the playoffs. But this is bigger than baseball. This is bigger than, any game. This is real life. So when it comes to real life and when somebody's missing or somebody's out there that's endangered, we all need to work together on this. And we all need to find out what happened to them. And we all need to bring justice to whoever did this to that person. And that is the ultimate goal that we all should have in this. All right. But hopefully Keon does not get out. He doesn't place any bonds. I know he's got a high top attorney right now. He's got a big attorney. Like I said, his family's helping him out. Oh, and Keon's brother supposedly it was in jail or is in jail. One of his brothers is in jail right now for unaliving somebody. So Keon's not the only one in the family doing anything. Not the only one in the family. Please like, subscribe. Let me know where you're watching this from. And let me know what you think about Gabby and her friend. Do you think they need to go to jail? Do you think they need to be investigated? Or do you think they're actually Gabby's telling the truth? You let me know. This is Fugitive TV. Until next time, I'm out.